Welcome to Days at Dogwood Canyon, a nature podcast brought to you by Dogwood Canyon Audubon Center in Cedar Hill, Texas. This is a podcast that will take you into our 200-acre wildlife preserve in the heart of the DFW Metroplex. Take a quick weekly break with us and get outside with the fresh air, the trees, and of course, the birds. My name is Kiersten, and I'm Center Coordinator, Community Programs here at Dogwood Canyon Audubon Center. Welcome, listeners, to our Days at Dogwood Canyon podcast. This is a podcast about nature, birds, plants, and us. We will talk about how we all rely on each other to live our best lives. One of my favorite things about spring in North Texas is the return of the hummingbirds. And this episode of Birds of Dogwood Canyon is about the ruby-throated hummingbird. Archilochus colubris is the long scientific name for this teeny tiny little bird. These gems are only 3 to 3 3/4 of an inch in size, and they weigh only 3 grams. Whoosh, that is a very light bird. Their coloration is truly spectacular, with emerald green feathers on the head and back that slips down onto the tail feathers. Males will have flashy red gular feathers on the chin and throat, with white just below those feathers. Males' chest and belly will range in color from white to grayish and will sometimes be a buff color. Females lack the bright red gular feathers, although some will have little dots of red on their throats. Females will have white throats in general, and bellies will also be white. And the juveniles will look like the females until they start growing in those gular feathers that the males will have, and then they look a little funny until they get them all grown in. Ruby-throated hummingbirds spend the spring and summer in the eastern portion of the United States and Canada, and they will migrate to southern Mexico and South America for winter. Now, some ruby-throats have started to overwinter or live year-round in Florida, southern Louisiana, and southern Texas along the Gulf Coast. This, the ruby-throated hummingbird, is the most common hummingbird of eastern North America, and the further east you go from Texas, it is the only hummingbird that is seen. Males will begin migration earlier than females, arriving on their breeding grounds around mid to late March to establish territories. They are looking for a habitat that offers them food, water, and shelter, which can range from a wild preserve, such as Dogwood Canyon, or a suburban backyard. Females come in a few weeks later looking for an acceptable place to build a nest after she visits a male's territory for a quick tete-a-tete that involves just a bit more than talk. Okay, I'll say it outright. She is looking to get her eggs fertilized so she can build her first nest of the season. Nests are made up of small twigs, like really small twigs, bits of lichen, soft leaves, tufts of fur, and grasses all held together with spiderweb. The female will lay 2 eggs inside. Each egg is about the size of a Tic Tac candy. No joke. Tic Tac candy. After the chicks hatch and begin to grow, the nest expands like elastic, courtesy of the spiderweb, cradling the babies tightly but gently as they mature. Whoa, how brilliant is that? I mean, wow! Females will typically have 2 clutches a year, if the weather and resources are good, of course, and they will build a new nest each time. Successful fledging is high in hummingbirds, barring predation or weather disasters. Hummingbird moms are really some of the best moms in the business. Now, males have nothing to do with rearing the young. Once copulation is finished, they settle back into their territory to attract another female. At the end of the season, males will begin the southern migration first, leaving in late July or early August to establish their wintering territories down south. Sorry to break the news to you guys about male hummingbirds being deadbeat dads, but, well, it's the truth. Females will begin their migration after their second clutch has fledged and they're able to fly on their own. Now, while we're talking about hummingbird misinformation, like the deadbeat dads, if you see an advertisement for hummingbird houses that promise to lure them to your backyard, do not believe it. Hummingbirds of all species nest in open cup nests, like the ones I just described, and the females make a new one every time they need to lay eggs. They don't even use their own old nests because that elastic has gotten too big for new young babies. Hummingbirds do not nest or roost in a box. These hummingbird houses are cute and they're great for decoration, but the only thing you're providing a home for is spiders, which can actually help hummingbirds since they use spider webs to create their nests and they raid spider webs for food. That's right, hummingbirds eat insects. These little zoomers burn a lot of calories, and a diet of strictly flower nectar doesn't really cut it. So they also eat soft-bodied insects like gnats and fruit flies, and even a tiny spider. A great way for them to find these small insects is to raid spider webs. You know, why make things more difficult for yourself when you can go right to the spider web? If you have any spiders on your porch, leave them be. The hummingbirds can use their web and steal a little protein. Not to mention that the spiders keep the bugs out of your house, too. Where can you see ruby-throated hummingbirds at Dogwood Canyon Audubon Center? Well, you can catch a glimpse of these physics-defying birds in our Canyon View area. We always hang a hummingbird feeder outside Canyon View when they are in residence. To get an up-close view of them sitting and enjoying a drink of nectar, this is one of the best places to see them. We use a 4-quart tray feeder filled with clear nectar, aka sugar water, that gets cleaned every 3 days when the temperatures are below 90 degrees, and then cleaned every day when temperature gets above 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And these have little perches on them, so if they do have a perch, they will sit longer at a feeder. When the garden is in bloom, you can also see them in nature play, enjoying the sensory garden flowers established by one of our Eagle Scout volunteers. It's a great place to have lunch at a picnic table and watch for hummingbirds. Along the path to our trails, we have a patch of Turk's cap that blooms every year, and you can be sure to see them there if you have a little patience. The garden just across the path dedicated to Carolyn Hunt also attracts these little beauties. There are a few benches out there that you can perch on while you wait. Okay, listeners, you know what comes next. I hope to see you all out at Dogwood Canyon Audubon Center soon, looking for the ruby-throated hummingbird.